Good morning, friends. It's your boy Mog live for you here at Wake Up News. This is Wake Up Wyoming for October 30th, 2017. We got a big show for you today. Hoping to get Robert Inlakesh on the interview here for direct from Palestine, of all places. He is in Palestine. I just got a message from him. Check this out. We got some high-tech business going on here at Wake Up Wyoming. There's me. Close that out. But supposed to bring him in. He says, I just got a message. I'm going to see how good my connection is. Got stopped at a checkpoint. Was sitting there for 2 hours, so now the connection sucks. So we're live. We're going to bring Robert in if we can get him. But that's the situation. He's on a bus at the morning. Jeff Robertson listening at work today. Bear in mind, I got the swear jar going. Y'all got to keep me on point with my swears, okay? But we're hoping to get Robert on the line here real soon. So bear with us. We'll bring him in as soon as possible. It shows him in the lobby, but I can't see his feed yet. So we're just going to get into the news. As usual, we're looking at the Jackson Hole Daily here at Wake Up Wyoming. And the big news, it's cool. They're actually covering some big news on the cover there. Again, we're going to get into the Robert Inlakesh interview as soon as possible. But for now, let's talk about Puerto Rico. The $300 million contract with Whitefish Energy up in Montana has been called off. If you're not familiar with that situation, it's scandalous. The head of Puerto Rico's power company said yesterday, the agency will cancel its $300 million contract with Whitefish Energy Holdings amid increased scrutiny of the tiny Montana company's role in restoring the island's power system following Hurricane Maria. Again, Whitefish Energy only had 2 full-time employees on September 19th when Hurricane Maria, a geoengineered hurricane, made landfall, trashed Puerto Rico. 2 employees. The announcement by Ricardo Ramos came hours after government Ricardo Rossello urged the utility to scrap the deal for Whitefish's help in rebuilding the electrical system. It's an enormous distraction, Ramos said of the controversy over the contract. This was negatively impacting the work we've been doing. Blah, blah, blah. Long story short, Whitefish Energy. Let's get into this story a little bit. This is pretty wild, okay? Check this business out. Close that. Bringing my screen up to show you all. So, out of Puerto Rico, things in Puerto Rico are worse than the government's admitting. This is an opinion piece out of New Orleans. It's pretty worth reading by a bunch of nurses that went down there. More than 900 post-hurricane deaths in Puerto Rico won't be physically examined, coming out of HuffPost. And here's the New York Times coverage on Whitefish Energy. But the key thing here, let me see if I can bring in this image to show you. This is crazy, okay? This is utterly crazy how much they're billing. Here we go. How much they're billing per person for this situation. Whitefish Energy source, the Washington Post, okay? A site supervisor, this is what they're billing, bear in mind. These guys probably aren't getting paid that much, but Whitefish Energy, the 2 employees of Whitefish Energy, are pocketing serious loot. Site supervisors in Puerto Rico getting $330 per hour. Journeyman linemen, they're billing $227 per hour. Supervisors, $462 per hour. And linemen, $320 per hour. Of course, there's got to be a per diem for these guys, so they're getting $322 per day per worker and $80 per day per worker for food. Must be staying in some pretty nice hotels down there in Puerto Rico. Let's look into it, though. The whole situation really and truly does stink. Facing withering criticism from members of Congress and the Federal Emergency Management Agency, the governor of Puerto Rico moved on Sunday to cancel the $300 million contract awarded to a small Montana company to rebuild parts of the island's battered power grid. While government officials in Washington and San Juan have argued over how a company from Whitefish, Montana, with connections to the Secretary of the Interior, Zinke, I have no idea why. By the way, you know, I'm kind of a proofreader, grammar snob. I have no idea why they didn't capitalize Secretary of the Interior here. This kind of thing drives me bonkers when you spot typos in the Washington Post. But only 2 full-time employees secured an emergency contract that requires the work of thousands of people. The majority of Puerto Rico is still without electricity, nearly 6 weeks after Hurricane Maria knocked down thousands of poles and lines. Okay, 3.4 million people plunged into darkness. The PREPA, Puerto Rican Electrical Power Authority, known as PREPA, is generating just 30% of its normal output, the Puerto Rican government said. The power grid is in such bad shape that the Power Authority does not know exactly how many of its customers are without power. The authority has estimated that repairs will cost at least $1 billion. The governor, Ricardo Rossello, announced on Sunday that he had asked the Power Authority's board, which he appoints, to cancel the contract with Whitefish Energy Holdings 2 days after FEMA issued a strongly worded statement criticizing the deal. FEMA said it had significant concerns and warned that it might refuse to cover the cost of the contract if it was found to be improper. Okay? The fact that 70 to 80% of Puerto Ricans still lack electricity, 6 weeks after the hurricane is utterly absurd, right? Whitefish Energy Holdings, it's funny, I was driving back from my weekend to go on rock climbing with some friends, had a great time, and turned on my phone. This is the first thing that popped up. So Facebook had my back on this one, letting me know about the situation. You know, it's funny, Whitefish was, again, a very small company, 2 employees. They're charging through the roof for their services in Puerto Rico, and they're disappointed, okay? In less than a month, we brought 350 workers with specific expertise in this task, and we're on track to have more than 500 linemen on the island by this week, if allowed to continue. They also brought over 600 pieces and 2,500 tons of equipment, including 400 trucks, cranes, and elevators, as well as 5 excavators, as well as 5 helicopters. Okay, it goes on and on. What I can't understand is why, well, I guess I can understand. You know, look at these rates here again. This is just utterly absurd how much they're charging. And Puerto Rico, the economy of Puerto Rico is in shambles right now. I'm trying to find a book. The economy of Puerto Rico is in shambles because they have no electricity, and they were already in serious trouble. Why not give these jobs? Why not give this contract to the Puerto Rican people? Ah, there it is. I know why. Because I've read The Shock Doctrine by Naomi Klein. If you haven't read this book, written in 2008, 2009, highly, highly recommended. It lays out disaster capitalism, and it uses Hurricane Katrina as an example. The situation in Puerto Rico, all these poor Puerto Ricans, American citizens, 3.4 million of them, are getting hosed. Okay, people with connections, people with political connections, like Zinke's buddies at Whitefish Energy in Montana, getting the contracts, charging outlandish rates. You know, looking at that image again, those prices are so shocking. You just have to keep bringing them up. You know, they're going to bill Puerto Rico $330 per hour for a site supervisor, but Whitefish Energy is probably going to pocket half of that. You know what I'm saying? These guys are making loot, and now they're getting booted. Hopefully, more and more people wake up to the reality of disaster capitalism. Just like wars are very profitable for people, so are disasters. And we live in the era of geoengineering. We live in the era of weather warfare. The mainstream media ain't going to cover it. But here at Wake Up Wyoming, we do. And I want to thank all of you for tuning in. We got some great news here. Jay Hardy, first time on Wake Up News. I'm digging it. Thank you, Jay. Thank you for tuning in. Everybody here. Jerry Wall saying they pulled the plug on that. Whitefish does not get the job. Yeah. But what's funny, Whitefish knew, looking at their Twitter feed, they knew they had a contract in Puerto Rico all the way back on September 29th. They tweeted how happy they were to be helping with the Puerto Rican reconstruction. September 29th. And here we are, a month and a day later, 80% of Puerto Rico still without power. Really, really sketchy business there. Now, why, you know, imagine if this was the case in Florida in the wake of the hurricane, or imagine if this was the case in Houston in the wake of Harvey. Imagine what people in Houston would be doing. Imagine the outrage if there were still 3.4 million American citizens in Houston, Texas, without electricity. But because they're in Puerto Rico, I guess nobody cares except for us here at Wake Up News. So thank you so much for tuning in. What's going on down there? What's the deal? Puerto Ricans displaced by Hurricane Maria could be relocated to the U.S. mainland. Okay? You know, Trump's building the border wall. Trump is, you know, they're cutting down. I don't want to blame Trump, but the point, the government wants less refugees, less immigrants from various countries. These people that live in Puerto Rico are American citizens. If the corporatist oligarchy wants a whole bunch of cheap labor, they can find it in Puerto Rico. 5 weeks after Maria, many communities without power or water. Now it is 6 weeks, okay? The Trump administration is exploring ways to relocate tens of thousands of Puerto Ricans to the U.S. mainland for an extended period as parts of the territory remain devastated more than a month after Hurricane Maria. Officials at the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development late last week started to develop a plan to provide housing to some of Puerto Rico's displaced population, according to people familiar with the matter. And given the shortage of available options on the island, the possibility of evacuating large numbers to the mainland has emerged as an option. Two of the people who spoke with housing and urban development officials said using large commercial cruise liners had been suggested to move residents en masse. Okay, so that's the root of our headline today about Puerto Ricans getting a free one-way cruise to the U.S. Interestingly, Tesla, coming out of Digital Journal today, or a week ago, Tesla and Puerto Rico lay out plans for a long-term energy solution. Bear in mind, Puerto Rico is great. Puerto Rico is a mountainous paradise island with a wonderful climate in the Caribbean. It's also a tax haven for a lot of European companies. And arguably, Puerto Rico is so deep in debt because of shady business practices conducted by the U.S. and Puerto Rican leaders in the past. It's not really the fault of the average working Puerto Rican. So I guarantee you that after the dust settles here, after all the Puerto Ricans who were poor and couldn't hold down their spots on the island are gone, Puerto Rico is going to reemerge as this beautiful, shining billionaires' playground. I can guarantee it. And it makes me sick. But on the bright side, at least like Tesla and the boys are going to make it kind of eco-friendly, I guess. Moving along, speaking of technology, China speeds ahead of the U.S. as quantum computing race escalates. I don't know, that's not super exciting, but there it is. And if you didn't see this one, we covered this last week, this Sophia robot nonsense. This is crazy. Here's Sophia the robot. Meet the first ever robot citizen, a humanoid named Sophia that once said it would destroy humans. Now, Sophia, as we covered last week, is a citizen of Saudi Arabia. Sophia the robot might not have a heart or brain, but it does have Saudi Arabian citizenship. As of October 25th, Sophia is the first robot in history to be a full citizen of a country. What? Sophia was developed by Hanson Robotics, blah, blah, blah. Sophia once said it would destroy humans, but this time around, the robot spoke about its desire to live peaceably among humans. So, yeah, I don't know, kind of creepy. We're still waiting to see Robert in the comments there. Again, he is trying to get live with me. He got stopped at a checkpoint. If you haven't seen Robert's coverage from Palestine, it's pretty good. He's from the UK, but he's been down in Palestine for several months now. And his friend Ashraf Abu Rama was arrested on no charges on Friday. He's going to court with the IDF today, and we're going to see what happens. But hopefully we can get Robert on the line. I'm keeping an eye on the lobby here of this live broadcast to get him going once he's able to. Next headline today coming out of the Guardian.co.uk. The world is witnessing a new gilded age as billionaires' wealth swells to $6 trillion. Of course, the mainstream media consistently fails to tell us that the people that are really, 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 really rich, like the Rothschilds, have got trillions of dollars alone, right? The billionaires of the world, the guys like Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos from Amazon.com, officially Jeff Bezos, the richest man in the world right now. He's got something like 90 billion. That's chump change compared to the people who have been running the global financial syndicate for hundreds of years, right? Stands to reason. Turns out running an online retailer for about 20 years isn't nearly as profitable, isn't nearly as lucrative as controlling the global financial system for hundreds of years. Same with Bill Gates, the richest man in the world. Turns out running a computer company for 30, 40 years isn't as profitable as controlling the global financial system for hundreds of years. There's a golden Lamborghini. It's good to see that these guys are spending their money wisely, right? Here in Jackson Hole, the billionaires, the multimillionaires here, instead of like funding the independent media or, really trying to make the world a better place, they spend their money on multi-million-dollar log cabins, fancy cars like this, endless vacations for them and their spoiled progeny. It's rather disgusting. The world's super rich hold the greatest concentration of wealth since the U.S. Gilded Age at the turn of the 20th century, when families like the Carnegies, Rockefellers, and Vanderbilts controlled vast fortunes. Billionaires increased their combined global wealth by almost a fifth last year to a record $6 trillion, more than twice the GDP of the UK. There are now 1,542 billionaires across the world, after 145 multimillionaires saw their wealth tick over into 9-0 fortunes last year, according to UBS. Okay, sorry I started speaking in a British accent there for a while, probably a piss poor one. Again, here's another typo. Come on, mainstream media, you guys suck. There are now 1,542 dollar billionaires. I guess that kind of makes sense, but it reads funky. You know what we can do today, too? Look at that. That's kind of fun. For Halloween, we can get these little themes going. Maybe we'll leave that one going for a while, just because it's exciting. Again, we're still hoping to get Robert on the line here. But while we're waiting for that, we're going to keep going through the news. We'll give you that for a little while. Halloween coming up tomorrow. Get ready. Speaking of the UK, speaking of money, the UK has doubled its minimum wage since 2000 with no observable effect on unemployment. Okay, this isn't the UK. That is an unemployment line in Brazil. The UK currently has the lowest ever unemployment and the highest ever minimum wage. Data tracking back to 2000 show no link between the wage level and unemployment. The minimum wage has risen faster than inflation over that time period. And the data suggests that the traditional economic idea that rising wage prices reduce the number of available low-paid jobs might not be true. Of course it's not true. Putting more money, if people are working, let's say people are working full-time, maybe it's an easy job, maybe it's a job that doesn't take that much skill, but if they're working full-time, they should probably make enough money to live off of. And there's a really funny phenomenon here, where if people have money in their pocket because they're getting paid a little bit more, people that are low income, guess what they do with all that money they make? They spend it. And that spending creates more jobs, more economic activity. So it's kind of cool to see that raising the minimum wage has not affected unemployment or the level of low-paying jobs, the level of, minimum wage jobs. Turns out paying people more money puts more money in their pockets and they spend it, and everybody wins except the owners of the planet. Moving along to financial news. Again, we're still waiting for Robert. Hopefully he can get in here. Bitcoin, speaking of money, Bitcoin, the cryptocurrency, just hit a new record high at $6,300. It's up over 550% year to date. It surged over $500 in a couple hours as tensions escalate in Spain and Asian markets wake up. So there's your cryptos. Interestingly, we don't know what's going to happen with these cryptos. Some people think it's the solution. Some people think it's the problem. The more I look into it, I think that cryptocurrencies are unreliable, because what happens when the power goes out and all you got's a bunch of Bitcoin? What happens if somebody hacks your computer and literally transfers your Bitcoins out of your wallet into their wallet? You have no way to get that money back. And on top of that, this is crazy, the cost of mining Bitcoins in terms of energy is utterly absurd. Check this out. Coming out of Zero Hedge 2 days ago. What would you guess? How many barrels of oil? 5, 25, 50? This is from James Stafford at oilprice.com. He did the math and explains the energy-driven geographic arbitrage currently driving Bitcoin mining. The Bitcoin boom is well and truly underway, and investors are constantly looking for new ways to take advantage of this space. The best way to do this, it seems, is by cutting the energy costs of mining this precious commodity. Okay, again, Bitcoin is precious, but Bitcoin is even more imaginary than fiat currency, in my opinion. Maybe some decentralized currency is the solution, but I don't know if it's Bitcoin. The Bitcoin mining industry consumes 22.5 terawatt hours of energy annually, which amounts to 13,239,916 barrels of oil equivalent. With 12.5 Bitcoins being mined every 10 minutes, that means the average energy cost of 1 Bitcoin would equate to 20 barrels of oil equivalent, right? Whether that energy is being created with natural gas or coal or solar or hydro or geothermal or wind, whatever, that's the energy equivalent. While it's all about where you sit on the cost curve, Stafford provides us with some context on gross energy consumption. To put this into perspective, the total energy consumption of the world's Bitcoin mining activities is more than 40 times greater than that required to power the entire Visa network, right? The largest credit card network. I got no love for Visa, but at least they're not just wasting energy. And it's very profitable. Bitcoin mining has the potential to be a wildly lucrative business, with a single Bitcoin now valued at more than 100 barrels of oil, right? $6,000 Bitcoins, oil's at $60 a barrel, so 60 times 100 is $6,000 bucks. Bitcoin's at 6,300 now. That kind of price makes it one of the most valuable commodities on the planet. And just like oil, this commodity is increasingly valuable to mine if the energy cost can be kept down. Bitcoin transactions are secured by computer miners who are competing for rewards in the form of coins from the network. The more computation power they use, the better their chances. The drill rig is a computer, and hydraulic fracturing is done with the tip of your fingers if you've got bucket loads of cheap electricity. Okay, this is actually pretty interesting. It's a phenomenally energy-intensive process. Cheap electricity is exactly what made China the Bitcoin mining king. The yearly cost of the energy necessary to mine Bitcoin determines its economics. But to get in on that, you risk reputation, because you're either siphoning off surplus energy from somewhere else or you're partnering with the government. No matter where you look at it, it's a very gray area. No one wants dirty coal fueling such a sophisticated endeavor, for example. As we discussed recently, subsidized energy and hyperinflation has led to a rapid growth in Bitcoin mining in Venezuela, albeit from a low base. When it comes to scale, however, the new Bitcoin mining hub with a different type of energy advantage is Iceland. James Stafford calls it the new ground below zero. He continues. That's why Hive Blockchain Technologies Ltd, a gold miner turned Bitcoin miner, right? These guys were mining gold, now they're mining Bitcoins, has set up in Iceland. As one of the first public companies that lets you participate in the build-up and infrastructure of crypto mining, Hive is taking advantage of Bitcoin's favorite element, ice. It's freezing in Iceland, so the relative energy cost of mining there is lower. Mining hardware requires enormous power and creates tons of heat, and natural temperature is key. Iceland saves on cooling costs, making it one of the most potentially profitable places to mine Bitcoin. You know, I don't know why they don't mention this, but Iceland also generates a lot of its electricity with geothermal power. Geothermal. Turns out it works really well. You got all this heat just bubbling up out of the earth. And that's another reason why electricity is so cheap in Iceland. Interestingly, right here in northwest Wyoming, we actually have the world's largest accessible continental geothermal resource. Unfortunately, it has been shelved by the U.S. government since 1872. What am I talking about? Yellowstone National Park. Crazier than fiction. Why were they so concerned? You know, at a time when the U.S. government literally had no presence in the West. They were out here slaughtering Indians, if anything, slaughtering Native Americans. Sorry for the terminology there. Why did they create a national park? Well, it's because they wanted to control the world's largest geothermal energy resource. And it turns out they didn't really want to bring it online because it would have upset their buddies in the coal industry back when we had a steam-powered economy. We got some great comments here. Thank you so much. Oh, by the way, back to Puerto Rico really quick. One of my Patreon subscribers, David Coco Rico Sedano, informed me that calling someone a coconut, you know, I always said David was the richest coconut. Well, in Puerto Rico, that's a slur. It kind of means somebody who's dark on the inside, outside, and white on the inside. So calling someone a coconut isn't really kosher in Puerto Rico. So I want to apologize to anyone I offended by using the term coconut. I had no idea. Thanks for the heads up, David. And thank you all for your comments here today. Let's see, moving along to other news. We're going to get into JFK. We're still waiting to see if Robert shows up. Again, he is having some connectivity issues. But this shouldn't really come as a surprise. Coming out of Shadowproof, published a couple days ago, U.S. officials plotted destruction of Cuban cops with biological agents. Okay, we were talking about JFK the other day. Operation Northwoods, designed to prompt a war with Cuba. False flag terror attacks against Americans and Cubans with intent to start a war with the Russians' closest ally to the U.S., JFK. The president at the time said, no, I'm not going to get down with that. I don't think that's cool. And that's part of the reason why they killed him. Again, JFK, a guy who said he was going to splinter the CIA and cast it out. What do we got for a quote here from old JFK? I will splinter the CIA into 1,000 pieces and scatter it to the winds. Thank you, JFK. I can see why they whacked you. But the JFK files, interestingly, some things are being revealed there. You know, they're not telling us that the CIA killed JFK, even though we know that's true. But here we go. Several of the more intriguing files released in the President JFK assassination files have little to do with specific aspects of the assassination. Instead, they involve covert operations that were contextually related to possible theories that were initially entertained by investigators. A special group of military generals and CIA officials met to discuss sabotage operations in Cuba on September 6, 1962. The group discussed agricultural sabotage. General Marshall Carter suggested introducing biological agents that would appear to be of natural origin to destroy cops. Okay, story goes on and on and on. But important to note here, you know, this was part of the whole Operation Northwoods campaign, right? And interestingly, at the same time, around about the same time, specifically in 1964, so a couple years later, the U.S. started spraying Agent Orange in Vietnam as part of Operation Ranch Hand. It was a secret. Even Congress didn't know about it. And they were spraying Monsanto's poison with the stated intent of defoliating the forest. Of course, it also polluted the whole water supply and covered all their crops with poison. And, you know, still to this date, people are being born in Vietnam with birth defects as a direct result of this biochemical warfare perpetuated against the innocent civilians of Vietnam, right? And strangely, today, people look at me like I'm crazy when I point to the sky and say, man, what are they spraying up there? And why are so many people getting sick with respiratory ailments? You know, why, what's going on here? And why are people's rainwater tests coming up with disturbingly high levels of aluminum, barium, strontium, and stuff like the Morgellons disease fibers? These things are really important. Okay, back to JFK though. You know, if you don't know this yet, I'm going to clue you in because this is a fun little factoid that people don't know. Angie Ego chiming in. They also used a bioweapon called D68. Research it. Yeah, you know, I've heard that they had all sorts of chemical weapons. And they call it the rainbow chemicals, not just Agent Orange, but a bunch of other stuff. I'm seeing Robert in the lobby, but I can't see his screen, so I can't really bring him in yet. I really want to bring you in, Robert. If you're listening, you can hear me. It's showing that you're available in the lobby, but I cannot see you. Just so people know, you know, sometimes people will give me a little flack, like that I'm computer illiterate and that I don't know what I'm doing. So I just want to show people what my... Whoa! Okay, you hear that? I want to show you what my screen looks like. Yeah. All right, so here's my live thing. You see we got 67 viewers. Right here, it tells me that I have one guest, but I can't see him. I can't do anything about it. So. We're back. Sorry for that. Just want to let people know that that's the deal. So hopefully Robert will show up here and we can get going. Again, he is stuck. He got stopped at a checkpoint. I'm going to see how good my connection is. Got stopped at a bleeping checkpoint. You'll notice I haven't sworn yet today. Was sitting there for 2 hours, so now the connection sucks. He's on a bus at the moment because he got stopped by a police checkpoint. If you haven't checked out Robert's videos here, you should. They're really good. He is practicing what he preaches. He is on the ground in Palestine, doing it right. And on that note, I'm going to get back while we're still waiting for him to come in, hopefully. Angie, you like the Halloween sound effect? Thank you. But I want to share with everybody. Let's see if anybody knows. So JFK, again, assassinated for a multitude of reasons by factions of his own government because he wouldn't get down with Operation Northwoods, which was a false flag attack designed to get us into war with Cuba. The false flag attack, after JFK's death, the false flag attack used to get us into the Vietnam War was called the Gulf of Tonkin incident. Does anybody out there in Facebook land know whose father was the admiral in the Navy that perpetuated the Gulf of Tonkin incident? Who was the commanding officer of the Gulf of Tonkin incident that brought the U.S. into the Vietnam War? And whose dad was that? So that's the trivia question. I want to see if anybody knows. David Cocorico, what's up, David? Hopefully you got my message. Apologizing for using the term coconut. I didn't intend it as a slur. It's a good point. The Bay of Pigs invasion. Another thing. Helen Ford, we have a winner. That's right. The Gulf of Tonkin incident, I kid you not, was perpetuated by Jim Morrison's dad aboard the USS Richard Bonhomme command ship. Stranger than fiction. You don't believe me? I can prove it to you right now. Hold on. Thanks for bearing with us again. We are going to get into it with Robert in the cash right quick here. Anybody that wants to have their mind blown about the music industry of the 60s and 70s, all the music coming out of Hollywood, check out this incredible book, Weird Scenes Inside the Canyon by Dave McGowan. Dave McGowan, rest in peace. Interestingly, he was one of the lead researchers looking into the Sandy Hook shooting, and he died of a very fast-acting cancer. But check this out. That's Jim Morrison and his father, I think these days, especially in the States, you have to be a politician or an assassin or something to really be a superstar. Before he was the Lizard King, U.S. Navy Admiral George Stephen Morrison and his son James Douglas Morrison on the bridge of the USS Bonhomme Richard, January 1964. This book is dedicated to all those whose blood still stains the canyon floor. Matthew Kehoe, I'm still a Doors fan too. Don't get me wrong. They made some great music. But this book, just like the pop music of today, isn't really, you listen to top 40 radio, it's not really pertinent to the issues going on. It's not really pertinent to, it's not really like getting humanity to vibrate at a higher level of consciousness, right? Well, the same can be said of the music that has been glorified as the anti-war hippie music of the 60s. There was actually a really strong folk music movement in the early 1960s, and then guys like Jim Morrison of the Doors, Buffalo Springfield, Crosby, Stills and Nash, the Mamas and the Papas, the Byrds, Frank Zappa, hate to say it, but some of you Zappa fans are going to hate me for this, Frank Zappa, all the rest of them. This crazy music scene emerged out of Hollywood, Laurel Canyon, Sunset Strip, when previously there was no music scene whatsoever in California. Next thing we knew, all these people were, playing the Ed Sullivan Show and Dick Van Dyke, and they were all countercultural revolutionaries. But really, they just did a lot of drugs, had a lot of sex, and played some really bad music live. But thanks to the studio band called the Wrecking Crew, they made it real big. Fatima Nunsabuga, hello from Uganda. Thank you, miss. Thanks for tuning in all the way from Africa. Pretty appreciate that. Jerry Ann Durbin Fairman, I understand Morin had pretty much disavowed his family anyway. That's what he said. In interviews, Jim Morrison said that his family was dead, but they weren't really dead. And right before Jim became famous, he was riding on the bridge of U.S. warships with his father. Interestingly, a lot of these people, a lot of these stars, the superstars from the late 60s and 70s in the music industry came from military industrial families. Nolan Conger saying his family disavowed him. I mean, are you sure? Are you like close personal friends with the Morrison family? You know that for a fact? I'm pretty sure that the reason Jim Morrison became so famous, the reason the Doors became so famous, is because they were pushing sex, drugs, and rock and roll at a time when the legitimate anti-war movement was struggling to get us out of the Vietnam War, right? There's a famous quote from Abby Hoffman, who was a legitimate anti-war activist of the 1960s. Famous quote. And he started a group. Before there were hippies, there were yippies. And Abby Hoffman was a yippie. There's a famous quote from Abby Hoffman that says, the anti-war movement was going splendidly, and then all these damn hippies showed up, right? Because it turns out if you got a bunch of navel gazers who are tripping out on acid and just, all about free love, that kind of blurs the issue. Not really, if you got an anti-war protest and you got a bunch of people there looking to just do a bunch of drugs and get laid, it doesn't really push the cause forward very well. And prior to the hippie movement, anti-war guys were all suit and tie intellectuals from universities. They were, reputable people. Once you brought all the hippies on board, it kind of hijacked and derailed the anti-war movement. Like we're seeing today with Trump, the divider in chief, attempting to divide Americans based on race and sex and class, all these things. The hippie movement divided America between the old and the young. And, just like modern music, look at hip hop. Hip hop emerged in the late 70s, early 80s as a very powerful force for good, a very empowering force for the black community, for the inner city community. But what happened? Hollywood, the music industry got a hold of it, and they started promoting guys like Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre, gangster rappers, a bunch of misogynistic, consumeristic, violent crap. Some of it's pretty good music, but most of the beats they just stole from previous artists. They stole it from old soul and Motown classics and just put these ridiculously offensive and degrading lyrics on top of it. And the mainstream media was happy to package and sell that to America. It's the same with the hippie music movement of the 60s and 70s. Sorry, guys, hate to break it to you. It's the same with punk music. You know, back in the late 70s, early 80s, punk emerged as this really powerful force. And what happened? Then we had fucking Blink-182 come along. Then it became pop punk. Then instead of being like real political, real edgy, real anti-war, punk music became pop music, right? So anybody that thinks that the super bands of the 60s and 70s were these huge countercultural revolutionaries needs to read this book. The best music I've found, you know, if you get into Spotify, I love Spotify. You find so much new music, and you can actually find a lot of good old music out there, artists that you never heard of because they never played the Ed Sullivan Show. Their fathers weren't admirals in the Navy, and so on and so forth. David Cocarico Sedona saying, hey, Tom DeLonge is good. You know, yeah, I've seen all his Disclosure Project stuff. He's been on Joe Rogan. You sent me a link to that. He's not in the band Blink-182 anymore. I was just using them as an example. I actually used to like that band back in the mid-'90s before they got real big. But, yeah, right. I mean, we could say Jim Morrison's good. Put out some good music. We could say Tom DeLonge is good. But overall, you know, like Tupac was good, right? But Tupac was hanging out with guys that maybe weren't so good, right? And why did Tupac get killed? Maybe it's because he upset the people that really control the music industry. I don't know. We could talk about this stuff all day. Tammy Bell Dodd. There you go. Amy Wilkes chiming in. DeLonge hangs with pedophile Podesta. I trust him not, right? You know, it's hard to know who you can trust. I can say with certainty I trust a lot of you here at Wake Up News. Hopefully you can trust me. I'm not trying to, like, lie to you. You know, I acknowledge that there's so much uncertainty in the world. But at the same time, you read a book like this, and it lets you know that stuff is all too real. Okay, it's telling me I got Clayton Best chiming in. Miles Kennedy with Alter Bridge is a new one that is great. Right on. Thanks, bro. Thanks for the tip. It's telling me I got Robert in the lobby again, and I want to show you all what I'm dealing with here so you know. The crazy echo is going to come back, so bear with me. It's Halloween. I'm going to kick up my Halloween here. I'm going to hide your comment there, Clayton. And I'm going to bring this into the broadcast. Okay, now he's gone. But basically, somewhere in here, it tells me there's a guest in the lobby. The lobby's this green section. But I can't see him, and I can't bring him into the broadcast. Happy Halloween from Wake Up Wyoming. All right, I'm going to get rid of that. Let's move on here. Okay, what's the big news? More big news. A powerful CEO arrested for bribing doctors to prescribe a powerful opioid. No big surprise there. It's nice to see they're finally arresting somebody. Doesn't really look like the kind of guy I would trust. Jan Kapoor, the CEO of Insys Therapeutics, was arrested Thursday for allegedly bribing doctors into prescribing a powerful narcotic. The billionaire founder of one of the nation's leading pharmaceutical companies was arrested by federal agents today for allegedly bribing doctors into prescribing a highly addictive opioid pain medication, the DOJ said. John Kapoor, the founder, blah, 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 blah. You know, tell me something we don't already know. The opioid epidemic is out of hand in this country. Very frustrating to see. Very frustrating to have your friends die from opioid overdoses. If you or anybody you know is on opioids, please, my friends, please, please, please get off of them. Once again, a little plug here for Rice Farmer. You know, people ask me all the time where I get my sources. One of my favorite places to look is ricefarmer.blogspot.com. This guy's on point. He's a little more depressed than, or not depressed, he's a little more pessimistic about the situation than I am, maybe a lot more. But then again, he has been researching these kind of topics very effectively for a very long time. And naturally, spending hours and hours of your day every day wallowing in the fear mongering and insanity that is the mainstream media will give somebody a very pessimistic worldview. I saw that with Mike too. That's why here at Wake Up Wyoming, we try to keep it positive. But you can see here, this is one day of Rice Farmers News Linked. Oh, I didn't see this one. We're going to have to read this. Man locked in store's beer cooler stays, drinks all night. Of course, it was in Wisconsin, Marshfield, Wisconsin.
Marshfield man faces 2 citations.
Oh my God!
Drinking beer, but it's not like
isn't that annoying how they just bring these videos up? Like, I don't want to watch your crappy video, USA Today. 38-year-old Wisconsin man who got locked in a convenience store's beer cooler overnight didn't despair. He decided to enjoy the experience, according to police. I wonder how many beers he drank. It was at a Quick Trip. Those are actually great convenience stores. When they opened the door, he left the store without paying for what he drank, an 18-ounce bottle of beer and 3 cans of malt liquor. He also fell over a stack of 30 canned beer packs, not breaking 3 cases open. He was issued a misdemeanor citation. So, there we go. I can't believe he was drinking 3 cans of malt liquor. You think he would have got into something a little more good. All right, we just got notification from Robert here. Again, I'm trying to get him on the line. He's saying, oh, the internet still isn't even loading my Facebook page. So that explains why when I try to bring him into the broadcast, I can't see his screen. But do check out Robert's work. If we can't get him into the broadcast, do check him out. Ooh, here's a great story. Tara Cleanse, we were just talking about opioids. I'm going to drop this in here. Thank you for such a personal and thought-provoking comment. Tara telling us, I stopped taking all meds, including 2 serious opioids 5 months ago after 25 years of use. Took 6 weeks of near death, but I made it. I'm now 100% free, dealing with pain naturally now. Tara, let's all give her a collective round of applause. Bravo to you for kicking the habit, getting off those meds, you know. It's pretty easy to get addicted to drugs when your doctor prescribes them to you. And, yeah. So, Tara, congratulations. Stick with it. If you need someone to talk to, just keep joining us here at Wake Up Wyoming. We stay together. We're a good community of people who are trying to, you know, be aware, but also not get all depressed about the world. There's a lot of good out there in addition to the bad. Pretty hard getting Robert in here again. I'm keeping an eye on the Facebook interaction between us, keeping an eye on my lobby. It says he's available, but I cannot see his screen. Tara, thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Angie Eagle, good Tara. Tammy Bell Todd saying, I love you too, Tara. See, this is great. Sandra Ulrich saying, good job, Tara. Stay strong. Yeah. And David Cocorigasana saying, but I'm a smart ass. I think that's probably what the difference is. We got a lot of conversations going on simultaneously here. Again, it says Robert's in the lobby, but I can't bring him into the broadcast. So let's get into the Jackson Hole Daily, the paper serving the wealthiest county per capita in the United States of America, where the billionaires come to play and waste their days. I'm going to drop a quick message in here to Robert and say just what's up. No worries. I can see you. I can see that you're trying to log in to the show, but I cannot see your camera. Thanks for trying. Our audience is very understanding. All right, you have to be if you're going to put up with me on screen typing messages to people. But, you know, I should let him know what's going on here. and he has seen that at 10:49 a.m. Here locally, hunters fire at a decoy. Okay, the cops out here put decoys out, and like the hunter, the game wardens, so on and so forth. They put these literal robotic decoys out, and people shoot at them. I'm gonna drop. Robert sent me another message. He said, "Sorry, brother." I'm just gonna send another quick message to him. No worries. If you have a message you want to share with our show, you can type it, and I will read it aloud. Sharing your FB profile with them as I write this. Bam. There we go. Now you can see, thank you, Sister Lavon at St. Stanislaus Middle School, for teaching me how to type pretty good. I really appreciate that. Again, sorry about the technical difficulties. Seems to be the story of our life here at Wake Up Wyoming. So anyway, local Jackson Hole news, the hunters firing their guns from their cars at a decoy deer. One hunter let 2 shots go from a pump-action 30-06 while he was driving. The driver shot across the occupied passenger seat and out the window of a vehicle filled with 4 complicit passengers. Can you imagine being in a car while the driver takes a shot at a deer? A robotic deer at that? I was coming out of hiding after he fired his first shot, thinking that was it. Game and Fish Detective Lash said, and he fired his second shot right when I was at the tailgate of the truck. He didn't see me coming. So in Wyoming, a lot of people are still free. Yep. And they like their guns, but come on, guys, you shouldn't be poaching deer. That's not cool at all. There's some good coverage here. The opinion section, we got a lot of local fluffy duff. Again, this paper is 70% advertisements, 20% fluff, and about 10% news. But the news obviously pretty biased. Pretty good article about JFK and how the world actually respected him. Like, leaders all over the world respected him. Comparing that with Trump today. Again, I don't get all bent out of shape on Trump, because Trump is in the office specifically to divide us and distract us. There's no way, there's absolutely no way that dude would be president if it wasn't planned that way, okay? The electoral process in this country is rigged. We saw this, for me, the big wake up to this fact was the 2000 election between George Bush and John Kerry, right? Shady business. Story goes on and on there, but all the way back then, we saw the electoral process is rigged. If they really wanted to put Hillary in the White House, they would have done it, right? If they really wanted to put Bernie in the White House, they would have done it. Trump is in the White House to divide us and distract us, okay? That has been his public persona for decades. Let's see. Where's my Trumpo? I got this great old copy of a Newsweek that I really like to whip out. Or it's a Time magazine from 1989, January 16th, 1989. Long before Donald Trump was a reality TV star, he was already a big public figure. And this is what they were saying about him back in '89. This man may turn you green with envy or just turn you off. Flaunting it is the game, and Trump is the name. Okay? He's the ace of diamonds. He's, he is what he is. He is not in charge. He does not call the shots. He is not going to change this country for the better. By the way, back in 1989, the Mazda MPV was brand new. It's a pretty sweet minivan, don't you think? And they were advertising Marb Reds on the back of Newsweek with cowboys standing there in their sheepskins, smoking Reds, watching the snowfall out on the ranch. Still see scenes like that today out here in Wyoming, but you're not allowed to sell cigarettes that way anymore. Moving along. into the national and international news. This is actually a really good story here. Letters are act of penance. It's about a senator that actually writes letters to every family of a soldier that dies. On a Sunday morning, more than 2 weeks after 4 U.S. soldiers were ambushed and killed in Niger, Representative Walter Jones sat at the desk of his North Carolina office doing what he's done more than 11,000 times in 14 years, signing letters to families of dead troops. My heart aches as I write this letter, for I realize you are suffering a great loss, the letter begins. It's a form letter, but the Republican congressman signs each one personally. Penance, he says, for voting yes for the Iraq War in 2002. For me, it's a sacred responsibility that I have to communicate my condolences to a family, Jones said in a telephone interview. And it's very special to me because it goes back to my regretting that I voted to go into the Iraq War. While President Trump and his staff feuded publicly this month over a congresswoman and the pregnant widow of a soldier killed October 4th in Niger, Jones has quietly continued his letter writing. This is a quote from Representative Jones from North Carolina. I felt the guilt, but also the pain of voting to send her husband, as well as thousands of other military members, to a war that was unnecessary. Obviously, the majority of these families will never know me and vice versa, but I want them to know that my heart aches as their heart aches. I will never forget my mistake because people died because of my mistake, said Jones. I bought into believing that President Bush didn't really want to go to war. That's how naive I was at the time. I could have voted no to the Iraq War, and I didn't. Okay. So, yeah, the Iraq War, 9/11, inside job, false flag, terror attack, kind of like the Gulf of Tonkin incident, kind of like Operation Northwoods, except this stuff actually happened. It was actually carried out by the government, by the Bush administration, by Dick Face Cheney. Speaking of Dick Cheney, we're still waiting for Robert. It says he is in the queue there, but I want to show y'all something. This is actually, believe it or not, on my Patreon page. I've now got 9 patrons for a whopping $320 per month. It's amazing. People accuse me of starting this show to make a bunch of money, but I could make more money doing just about anything. But this story right here, let's see if it plays. Dick the terrorist prick. 17-minute video for subscribers only. It's only going to cost you $1. And this video is about the time back in 2005 when for a couple months I was literally the first line of defense protecting Dick Face Cheney, the war criminal vice president, anytime he was on vacation in Jackson Hole. And this story is 100% true. And if you want to hear it, 17-minute story, that's a lot more fun than reading the news. You can subscribe for $1 a month to my Patreon, and you can hear it. Otherwise, you can't. I got to make money somehow. Anybody thinks I'm money grubbing by doing Wake Up Wyoming? Whatever. I'm going to make it with or without your help. And again, if I wanted to make a bunch of money, I could literally be doing anything but this show and make more money. I could be washing dishes and make more than $320 per month. So, moving along, help me out if you can. That's my spiel. Still says Robert's in the lobby. I still can't see him. Brian Peterson, my first ever Patreon subscriber, saying that was a great story. Thank you, Brian. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Normally I hope to get $6 out of people per month to do my video update stories. I have got no shortage of stories to tell y'all that are wildly inappropriate for the mass public. Big thanks to all my Patreon subscribers. You know who you are. Let's keep going through the news here. And hopefully we can get Robert on the line. Cass Bass saying not one of those crazy scam artists. You know, it's funny. David Cocorico watched it. He's another subscriber. That my homeboy, I watched it, right? It's funny how anytime, I'm just going to go on a little rant here because it's important, okay? Independent media. Back in 2011, 2012, I was working as assistant to Michael C. Rupert. And they had made a movie about him in 2009 called Collapse, like a Hollywood movie. Ebert and Roper gave it 2 thumbs up, right? It's a kick-ass movie. But anyway, long story short, he had a lot of publicity surrounding his name. And even with all that, he still wasn't making enough money to get by. Every week, it was like there was barely enough money to keep the website running and to pay me and the few other people who were involved. Okay? You go around to all these independent media outlets right now, they're forced to put out a bunch of clickbaity crap and fill it with advertisements because they're not making any money. There's no money to be made. Like, no one, maybe Alex Jones is getting rich because he does all this fear mongering and he's like trying to push like his own personal brand of like survival supplies and stuff. You know, maybe Mike Adams at Natural News is getting rich because they've got a lot of advertising and they put a lot of real like kind of clickbaity headlines out there. But independent journalists, people that are really like trying to research the news, get the story straight and put it out to you. I don't know anybody that has gotten rich from doing that. So bear that in mind. And to anybody out there, you know, recently I've had several people accuse me of just doing this show because I want to get rich. And it's like, I'm making $300 a month and I'm working, I don't know, 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, 6 days a week. I don't know. I don't know exactly. Interestingly, you know, I also started, since I'm such a money grubber, I started a Indiegogo campaign. And let's see how that's doing. Because this campaign, I'm trying to raise $10 million, just like Corey Feldman, so we can bring together the real media. But I've only raised $27. Now, bear in mind, Corey Feldman wants $10 million so he can make a documentary film. Well, I did the math real quick, and with $10 million, we could fund a team, a loosely structured team of 100 independent journalists, paying them $100 per workday for 1,000 days each, right? Imagine that. If there was a team of 100 independent journalists who would be stoked, utterly giddy with excitement, overwhelmingly happy to make $100 per day. That'd be huge. And they'd be able to work for 1,000 work days. What would that do? Right? What would that really do? I don't know. But that's why I made the Indiegogo campaign. So far, people have ponied up $27. So maybe we're not going to make 10 million, but can't blame a guy for trying. And anybody out there who accuses me of trying to get rich, well, all right then. California scrambles to organize pot industry. Ready or not, California kicks off recreational marijuana sales on January 1st. Okay? Not too much more to read there. The American middle class is hard to define. It's funny, you know, we hear all these stories in the media about the shrinking middle class and blah, blah, blah. No, there isn't even like a hard definition of what the middle class means. Some people think it's anybody making more than like $44,000 a year. Can't really shine on 44 grand a year. You pretty much just break even, right? So, I don't know. Moving along. While we got all these stories about Sophia the robot and artificial intelligence in the papers, there's a pretty funny Dilbert out there right now. Artificial intelligence. I invented a neural interface for computers. Is that so computer users can control computers with their thoughts? No. The opposite. Your way would be like a squirrel trying to drive a car. So Dilbert talking artificial intelligence. It's funny how controlled people are by their smartphones, right? Artificial intelligence. Robert's still trying to get in the show. Okay, so I'm going to bring this up real quick. Again, we were trying to get Robert on the show today because his friend Ashraf was arrested on Friday. for bogus charges. This guy Ashraf, previously his brother and his sister have been murdered by IDF. He says he's got a lot to say, no singular message that can be spread. My friend Ashraf, his wife just rang me to tell me that his court case has been pushed back from Monday to Wednesday. So we'll see what happens there. Robert, if you can hear us, sorry I can't bring you into the broadcast. I'm looking forward to it. He says he's in the lobby, but I can't add him. It's very, very frustrating. Very, very frustrating. I don't know why that is, but moving on. Interestingly, I would bet, my friends, that oil prices are going to go up here, and then the economy might collapse again like we saw in 2008, 2009. I don't think it's cause for total alarm, but just something to be aware of. Saudi Arabia's crown prince says his country supports extending an agreement by major oil producers to limit output beyond next March. Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman said Saturday that the agreement, led by OPEC, is necessary to balance supply with demand. Saudi Arabia is the world's largest oil producer and the most influential member of OPEC. The organization is expected to take up the extension of the agreement, which kicked off at the start of 2017, at its next meeting November 3rd. Jim Crane, an energy expert at Rice University in Houston, said Saudi Arabia needs to keep oil prices up to balance its budget and make the upcoming public sale of stock in Saudi Aramco, the state-owned oil company, attractive to investors. Crane said OPEC cutbacks and higher prices would help boost U.S. production in Texas and North Dakota. Okay, so gas prices going up by design. Lots of great comments here. Jeff Robertson saying, we appreciate all your hard work. Thanks, bro. Alan Morningstar saying, I pay less and work 12 hours, 7 days and off my own terms. Okay. I appreciate that, Cass Bath. What's this saying? Max, if you're doing this to get rich, if that's true, knowing you that money will go to good things and you'll give back, right? That's what's kind of funny is, like we saw with that article earlier today about the minimum wage going up in the UK. It didn't crash the economy. It's actually good for the economy, right? We live in the era of quantitative easing, right? The central banks print money, gift it to the government to fund deficit spending, gift it to the big banks so they can hold all these toxic mortgages, drive up real estate prices, make our rent more expensive and so forth. But I've run the figures before. I think it's $85 billion a month. Let me do the quick math here again because I want to get it right. During QE, $85 billion a month. It's a lot of zeros. Divided by 300 million Americans, $283.33. If the government really wanted to boost the economy, instead of taking $85 billion and giving half of it to the corrupt government to fund deficit spending, giving the other half to too big to fail banks so they can prop up the stock market, real estate markets, if they just distributed that money directly to American citizens, that would put $283.33 in every American's pocket monthly. Would that boost the economy? I think so, because people would spend it. Of course, that would, there are accessory issues to that, like it would drive up consumption of actual goods, which would make the trade deficit go all wonky, so on and so forth. But we don't got time to get into that right now. That's a discussion for another day. Horoscopes there. It still says Robert's in the lobby, but I can't see him. I can't bring him in. I can see the lobby, but I can't see him. Super frustrating. I would love to bring a guest in from the lobby. Thank you, BeLive. Then we're into sports, restaurant listings. Of course, no shortage of jobs here in Jackson Hole, but there are no affordable places to live. Clayton Best asks, do you think Facebook will boot you off? I don't know, man. That's a great question. People talking about communes. Yeah. Let's see. Catanella has a good comment there. Again, I'm not doing this to try to get rich. Okay, I'm not doing this to try to get rich. If I wanted to get rich, I could literally be doing anything else. Kate Catanella with her thoughtful comments here. If millions of people pay for cable TV over $100 monthly to be lied to by the corporate-owned mainstream media to lie to us, then Max, feel free to eke out a livable wage with your excellent reporting and commentary. Rachel Maddow makes millions a month on CNBC to lie to the public and disinform them. There should be no objection for the public to pay for real news and information, right? And it's like, I could like go take a break and go for a walk while I showed you all a bunch of advertisements for I don't know, Viagra and opioid painkillers and how to refinance your home. But I think it might be better to just stick to the story and give you the news. I hate to even bring up the money stuff, but it's like, I don't think people are going to pony up if I don't shame you into it a little bit. And on that note, we're on to the scopes. We're still waiting for Robert. I don't think we're going to be able to get him. He's got bad service. And I don't know, Be Live format kind of screws us here. Maybe I should give him. No, we can't get him in. We can't get him in. Horoscopes. If you want your scope read, lay it on me. I'm going to read mine first because it says I'm having a 5-star day, and I believe it. Taurus, 5-star day. You demonstrate unusual insight and understanding. You also view a changeable situation with greater perspective than most people do. In many ways, you exhibit knowledge and forethought in this matter. Learn to trust yourself. Tonight, time for fun and laughter. Knowledge and forethought. Maybe that is my perspective on trying to fund the independent media, not just me, because I don't know how we're going to possibly win this fight against the mainstream, the lamestream, the dead stream, if they got all the money and they're not being censored by the algorithms on Facebook and Google and so forth. They're getting paid. I saw this article recently. What's his name? Bill O'Reilly settled out of court for a sexual harassment charge. $32 million. Okay. Again, $32 million. Well, replace this 10 million with 32 million. You could fund 320 independent journalists at $100 per day for 1,000 work days each. Okay. I don't know. Anybody wants to give me shit for trying to make a few bucks, trying to fund my life so I can do this work, shame on you. Scopes. Jerry Wallace looking for Scorpio. Here we go. Jer. Thanks for tuning in, brother. As always, 5-star day. You blaze a new trail and break some patterns once and for all. You have a tendency to get stuck in a routine. Clearly, you are feeling inspired to do otherwise, and will see the enormous benefits of doing so. Tonight, make any final Halloween preparations. There you go, Jer. Gregory Osal Nelson, thank you so much for posting that to your pages. Pretty wild. His buddy, well, he's His Majesty. HM stands for His Majesty. What is that? 18th King of Tibet, basically. It's pretty wild. Tina McLeod looking for Scorpio. I already read that to Jerry, so hopefully you got that. Brian Peterson, my first Patreon subscriber. Thank you, Brian. Sorry for complaining about money here. 4-star day. You might feel pressured to give your full attention to a situation involving your finances. Others seem to have strong views. Follow your instincts with this matter, and you will come out ahead. You will feel good, too. Tonight, when you want to initiate a conversation, do. There you go. Lavenda Looning, laugh out loud. Yeah, we might as well keep our sense of humor about everything, right? Angie Eagle, giving you cancer, not that kind, but the good kind. Unlike the pharmaceutical and agribusiness companies, I don't want to get rich off of giving you cancer. You're having a 4-star day. While you are willing to let someone else call the shots, you still want others to listen to your input. They actually might back off when they sense your enormous reservoir of creativity. Some even might feel that you are more qualified to lead. Tonight, the only answer is yes. Jerry Ann Durbin Fairman, Sagittarius, coming at you, hon. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate you. 5-star day. You could be full of fun and energy. However, don't lose your sense of equilibrium and go haywire. Maintain good sense and a strong idea of what you want from a situation. You easily could go overboard if you are not careful. Tonight, meet friends for dinner at a favorite spot. There you go, Jerry Ann. Jeff Robertson, looking for Gemini. Thank you so much, brother, for tuning in. You're having a 4-star day. Your intensity regarding a work-related matter flows into other aspects of your day. You have unusual stamina and energy, Jeff. When you take the lead or decide to express yourself to a group, a more idealistic facet of your personality emerges. Tonight, a must appearance. Lavenda Lunig, thank you for telling people to share the video. I really appreciate that. Very much. Again, if people want to share Wake Up News, if you share it on your wall, I could show you how it really works out, and I'll do that for you if you want. But what happens is, if you share it on your wall, odds are no one's going to see it. I know it sounds a little crazy, but it's true, and I can prove it to you if you want me to. Let me see if I can bring that up. So share it, but also please, send it in a personal message. These social media networks are proving themselves to be more and more unreliable every day. You hear at Wake Up News, we got to reach, supposedly we have 513,000 likes, but I'd be very impressed if more than a couple thousand people see this video. And to give you an idea, I'll show you my last video from Friday. See if I can bring it up and show you that when you do share it, which I really appreciate you doing. I love the fact that you share it. Here, I'm going to bring one up here just to show you. Okay, let me drop this into the broadcast. Hide your wonderful comment there, Lavenda. So here, we had 146 shares on this video. You see that? I'm going to click on that. And you can see, oh, nobody liked that except Gregory. Nobody liked Kim's. Nobody liked Greg's. Nobody liked Angus, Shoshana, Amy. Nobody liked that. Nobody liked that. Chemtrails UK has a following of several thousand people, 6,907 likes, but nobody liked our video. The Global Unknown has a reach of only 123, no likes. No likes there, no likes there. April liked her own. Thanks for that, April. Jonathan Twitty, badass boss there, no likes there, no likes there. People Powered Streams with a reach of 3,840 people, no likes. Kenneth Day, no likes. Josh Hess, no likes. Armando Torres, no likes. Chris Johnson, Angie Eagle, love you. Thank you for sharing, but no likes. Yvonne Ramirez Paradas, no likes. Jenna Nash Reno, no likes. People Powered Streams shared it again, but no likes. No likes there, no likes there, no likes there. Here we go. This guy, Estefania, liked it, and Barbara Squire liked it. So there we have one, out of all those shares, we have one like that wasn't the person who shared the video. No likes, no likes, no likes. No likes, no likes, no likes, no likes. Open Your Eyes has got a following of only 90, so that's small. But hopefully we can find some pages. No likes there. Here we go. Yeriwa Tsama Mashiho getting some great likes. This is cool. So I don't know why. They live in Jerusalem, Israel, and the Holy Kingdom of King David Foundation. So I'm going to have to add this person as a friend because apparently they're a boss. Somehow they were able to get 6 people to like it. Looking at all these, no likes, no likes. David, thank you as always for sharing. No likes, no likes, no likes. Jerry Ann Durbin, I love you tuning in. I always love reading your scope, but no likes. I'm just showing you. I appreciate people saying share it, but the point is you can share it every day, but I bet you no one's gonna like it because I doubt anyone's gonna see it. Again, we had 140 some. There's my own personal post there. 23 likes. Thank you, fam. Love y'all for liking my stuff. Okay. Siobhan liked her own. Thank you for that. This guy, thank you, Nolan. But again, no likes, no likes, no likes. And I don't think it's because, I know you all have friends. I know you all are like good, aware, awake, awesome people. But no likes. Even the Age of Information, this is another page that I have admin privileges to. So, of course, I shared it there. This page has got a reach of, I think, maybe 30 or 40,000 people. But you can see only 581 people, so they say, were exposed to this, and nobody liked it. And then I can't see the rest of the post due to their privacy settings. But the point is 146 shares and maybe 30 organic likes total. Okay, so how, there's no possible way, even if, I admit this isn't the best, funnest video ever. Sorry if it's not super entertaining, but you'd think we could get a little likes, and it's damn near impossible to go mega viral with something like this. Even if you share it, no one sees it. So if you want to get it out to people, please share it. I love that you share it. I really appreciate you sharing it, but you might want to send it as a personal message too. Moving on, Tammy Bell Todd, Sagittarius. 5-star day. You could be full of fun and energy. However, don't lose your sense of equilibrium and go haywire. Maintain good sense and a strong idea of what you want from a situation. You easily could go overboard if you are not careful. Tonight, meet friends for dinner at a favorite spot. J. Scott Knorr asking, where do I sign up to keep you in coffee and sweaters? That's a great question. Here's the link. Bam. So you can follow me right there. Moving on to more scopes. If you just Google me. Oh, Brian, thank you so much for tuning in. Clayton Besh saying exactly, shame on them. Yeah. Michael Shane Kirkpatrick, Capricorn. Here we go, brother. Michael, it was great interviewing you the other day. Anybody wants to get interviewed, add me as a friend, hit me up. Let's do it. Capricorn, coming at you, brother. Thanks again for tuning in, all of you. Where is it? 5-star day. We're having a lot of 5-star days. You might feel uncomfortable with trusting someone else as much as you have lately. Right now, you are likely to manifest that which you desire. Trust your sixth sense and make decisions accordingly. A meeting proves to be important. Tonight, can anyone say no to you? I don't think so. So enjoy your day, Michael Shane Kirkpatrick. Love you. And all the rest of you. J. Scott Knorr, thank you so much for tuning in. Pisces, coming at you, bro. 4-star day for you. You know what will work and what won't. However, you must deal with others in order to reach a mutual agreement. You will work to that end and succeed unless you get tired of making your points. In either case, you will emerge successful tonight with a favorite person. So there you go. Jerry Ann Durbin Fairman, thank you so much. Cancer, I think I did that, but I'll do it again for you, David, since you're one of my Patreon subscribers and you're one of my bros, and I love you. Here we go. 4-star day. While you are willing to let someone else call the shots, you still want others to listen to your input. They actually might back off when they sense your enormous reservoir of coconut milk. No, creativity. Some might even feel that you are more qualified to lead. Tonight, David, the only answer is yes. Clayton Best coming at you for Virgo. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for your advice too, Clayton, about going live at 10 a.m. every day. I'm going to try to follow that. And I hope that everybody knows that. Weekdays, 10 a.m., Wake Up Wyoming. I'm going to do my best, like Clayton Best, to be ready to rock. On time, 10 a.m., weekdays. Here we go. Virgo. 5-star day for you, Clayton. Others observe you with admiration. Their perspective about what you are capable of is transforming. You seem inspired and willing to let go of the pragmatic business that often is associated with you. Let your imagination take the lead. Tonight, opt for more spontaneity. There we go. Moving along. Tina McLeod letting us know they censor us. Yes, they certainly do. David Coco Rico Sedano saying, Leo for my wife. Here we go. Leo, the ladies that always break my heart. I don't know why. I'm a sucker for a Leo. 5-star day. You have the right idea as you dive into the work week. You sense a change in the wind's direction. You are determined to accomplish as much as possible as you face an intense amount of work. You also could clear out a lot if you can work from home. Tonight, dinner for 2. Axel Meneses saying 147, bro. Thank you for sharing that, Alex. You know, like I said, the independent media is censored. Kate Catanella agreeing, yes, that's right. I share, but no likes. Matthew Kehoe, A for effort. Thanks, man. Let's keep talking about doing some marketing together. Appreciate that. Matthew Kehoe saying nobody looks at their friend's timeline. Right. Nobody even goes and visits Wake Up News' page, right? People just see the feed and get sucked into the feed. So, yeah. Jerry Ann Durbin, Tina, for a couple of weeks, I just couldn't find Max's feed when he was live. Even when I was logged in and looking for the live feed, I felt like they were hiding it from me. I had to set it up so Wake Up News was the first thing to see to catch the live broadcast. Right, isn't it funny? Lavonda Lunig, please interview me. Cool. I will add you as a friend. You can add me as a friend. Let's do it. Terry Hill, sorry. Again, it's still it's telling me that I have a guest in the lobby. I know I promised an interview with Robert from Palestine, but he was hung up at a checkpoint, military checkpoint with the IDF apartheid warriors is what he calls them. Levada, Sagittarius, I read that one already, so hopefully you caught that. We live. Daniel Reichert, what's up, bro? David Coco Rico, thanks, bro. Appreciate you very much, man. Keep sending me links. Anybody that's got good links, please send them my way. Really appreciate you all. Again, if you want to support my work, you know, in addition to doing the show, trying to get good guests on here, a lot of work, a lot of research, and yeah. Tara Klin saying she can't find my profile. If you just write my name in there, Max Mogren, it should come up, but if not, there's 2 Max Mogrens in the world, me and one in Sweden. My last name is actually pronounced Mogren, apparently, but since I'm a bastard American, I just say Mogren. Otherwise, people would misspell it left and right. So if you can't find me, but Tara, I'll try to add you. Matthew Kehoe saying that happened to me last week. I couldn't find the broadcast. You know, it's funny, like I'll go through afterwards and I'll download this video so I can put it up on BitChute, YouTube, DTube, post it to my Patreon page, post it to wakeupnews.net. You know, this is like the behind the scenes stuff that you don't see, the other couple hours of work after the show's done. And I'll go through and read all your comments. And it's amazing. Facebook will be like, it'll play for like 30 seconds, and then Facebook will tell me, sorry, we're having a hard time playing that video. And then I have to start it over again. So it's funny how that works. I can't even watch my own video sometimes. David Cocorio said, I know Pornhub, laugh out loud, right? Yeah, maybe we should just post these videos at Pornhub. Then they'll get a lot of views. You know, it's funny. You get a video of somebody taking it in the poop chute. We'll get 5 million views on Pornhub, but we can't get too much people watching this. It's funny. Did you know there is a live streaming service called Twitch that specializes in video games? Like literally people watching other people play video games. And what's crazy about Twitch is they will literally have like 30,000 people watching somebody play a video game. I'm going to bring one up here just to prove it to you. Okay, this is a dude. This is hilarious. But this is a dude playing a video game. He's playing a video game, right? This guy right here. He's really into it. You see, he's really trying hard playing League of Legends. There are 25,444 people watching this dude play a video game. And he has had total views on this. You know, he's probably been playing for a real long time because he's had 200. 235 million. Excuse me. It's so astronomical I can't even believe it. 235,573,239 viewers on his channel, watching him play like a real-time strategy video game. Okay, but here's another one. This guy's playing some video game too. Okay, there he is. He's playing a video game, and there are 29,000 people watching this dude play a video game. Okay, here's another one. This one here, it's a cute girl talking about video games, and she's got 16,700 people sitting there watch her talk about playing video games. So, I don't even know what to say. That's just, I don't know, kind of crazy. But I'll tell you one thing. I sure am grateful that we have 50 people, all 50 of you who are tuned in here at Wake Up News, that really care about what's going on in the world, trying to make a positive difference, and I really appreciate you all. So, thank you very much. Nicholas Packwood saying online gaming is the new trend. I mean, you could say it's a new trend, but it's also an old trend. I have to admit, I used to play a lot of video games. I used to be super addicted to some games. I used to be crazy addicted to StarCraft, StarCraft 2, Warcraft, Warcraft 2, Warcraft 3, Diablo 2, all these real-time strategy games. And it's funny, in these games, they are playing, you know, what's funny about all these real-time strategy games, what's the point of the game? What's the point of the game? Your goal is to exploit as many resources as possible, develop as much technology and infrastructure as possible, build a giant army, and then destroy your enemies. Like, that's the whole point of these games. So it totally brainwashes people into the modern mentality. And then there are all these first-person shooter games, which is basically simulated war, simulated murder. What's the point? You run around with a gun and you kill people. So I'm not knocking on people for playing video games. Like I said, it's super addicting. I used to be addicted to that. I remember being in college, having a girlfriend in college, and I was so addicted to Diablo 2 at the time that I literally couldn't pull myself away from the screen when my girlfriend was in my dorm room looking to get it on with me. Right? That's how addictive these games. Then you got smart. What is the point? Well, Clayton, I guess the point is just that, you know, these games are super addictive, so I don't like blame people for getting addicted to them. And but it's just shocking. You know, it's one thing to play video games, but imagine, like, there's one guy who's really, really good at playing a video game, and they'll have 30,000 people simultaneously watching them play a video game. It's insane. It's utterly insane. Thank you all for all the positive stuff here. Start live streaming while you play. Right. Maybe I should just, you know what I could do, Nicholas? Let's think this through. We need some ideas here. Maybe I could get just like some footage of people playing. You know what I'm saying? Like, just footage of people like running around shooting each other, or like whatever, you know, just footage of gameplay, raw footage. Put my own picture down there. And then be acting like I'm playing, like, oh, I'm gonna fuck you up, man. I'm gonna shoot you, bam, you're dead. But at the same time, just be talking news entirely and be like focused on that, but pretending that I'm playing without even looking at the screen. That would probably mess with them too. So maybe we'll do that. Again, I ain't knocking on anybody that plays video games. If you do that, that's cool. Yeah. Daniel Rackett saying, I like playing War Wings, but you're only shooting down biplanes. Oh, wait, blood gushing from a cockpit. I forgot, right? Our guest, it's so frustrating. It still tells me our guest is in the lobby, but I cannot see him. I'm going to show you what I'm dealing with here so you don't think I'm lying to you, because You know, trust is important in the media. If you look here, let's see, let me bring this up. There's the Echo, the Halloween show. Okay, that's obnoxious. But right here, it was showing him. That's terrible. The Halloween broadcast. Okay. So anyway, that's the gist of it. Tomorrow on Halloween, we will be doing a show. Again, I'm trying to go live every weekday at 10 a.m. Following Clayton Best's suggestion there to keep it real for all of y'all. Get my schedule tightened up to get all of you the news in a timely fashion. Thank you so much for tuning in. Sorry if I seem a little stressed right now. I'm dealing with a few different things, some money stuff, and a friend who's kind of stabbing me in the back at the moment. So I better get back to dealing with that. Unfortunately, we couldn't get Robert on the line. It still tells me he's in the lobby, but I can't bring him into the show. So I'm going to hit up tech support at Be Live. Check out Robert Inlakesh on Facebook. That's RobertInlakesh. He is on the ground in Palestine, keeping it real. And we would have loved to get him on here for you today, but just wasn't happening. We'll keep trying. Hopefully we can get him tomorrow or the next day. Jerry Ant Durbin Finneman, are you going to dress in costume for your broadcast? Absolutely. Great question. Certainly in costume tomorrow for you all. So thank you again for tuning in. I appreciate you all. Stay active. Thanks, Jason. I will. Chin up. You got it. Stay active, stay aware, stay optimistic. And thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, it is real easy to get frustrated reading the news, getting censored, technical difficulties, financial troubles, personal troubles with friends. You know, there's so many things in the world. You get sick. So I guess the best thing we can do is just roll with the punches and stay optimistic no matter what. So I'm going to do that, and I encourage all of you to do the same. I love you all. Take care. One love. Peace. Gotta hit this twice.